Have you changed your Instagram strategy in the last couple of years? If you haven't, you're probably super frustrated right now. You're not growing, you don't get the followers, you don't get the engagement, and you're not getting the sales. Well, it's actually not your fault. Instagram has completely changed, and so your Instagram strategy needs to change as well. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through my steps to building an Instagram strategy. My name is Michelle Gifford. I'm a brand marketing strategist. I run a marketing agency where we serve 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses, and we help them grow from Instagram and beyond. And I also teach Instagram to thousands. I have a membership community I would love for you to be a part of. It's called Insta Social Society. You can get all the details below. And make sure that you stick around to the end because it is something that people usually miss when they are building their Instagram strategy. As we're building our strategy, I need you to understand a few basic concepts about Instagram. The first thing is that Instagram has fundamentally changed in the last couple of years. One of the biggest changes that affects how your strategy goes is that Instagram is becoming more and more of a search engine. And because of that, we have to adapt and we have to create content for that search engine. We can no longer just post random stuff to our feed and hope people follow. Unless you're a celebrity, go ahead and do that. But most of us really need to understand SEO, search engine optimization, and we need to create content for that. And I will be talking more about what that means in the strategy. The second thing that we need to understand is that we need to start creating content for people who do not follow us. This is one of the biggest benefits to TikTok is TikTok is really good at putting out content to people that don't follow. And Instagram is doing more and more of that. So the Reels algorithm is different than any other algorithm. It's more like the TikTok algorithm where it is giving people content that the algorithm thinks that they will like, whether they follow them or not. That's why putting Reels in your content is so important is because Instagram takes those Reels and it puts it in front of people who don't follow you yet. Most people are only creating content for people that already follow them. And the mistake here is if Instagram is putting your content out to people who don't follow you and they don't really get the inside jokes, they don't get like who you are or why you're sharing this, they probably won't give you a follow and Instagram will stop pushing your content out. The next is Instagram is a piece of your overall marketing. In the past, we've really looked at Instagram as the only place that we market, right? Instagram is just a part of our overall strategy. Number one, how does it serve our audience? And how does creating that piece of content serve my business? If you're only doing one of those things, if you're only serving your audience, you might get big numbers and big following, but you're probably not making sales. And if you only focus on how does Instagram serve my business, then what happens there is people aren't listening because you're creating all this content that no one's watching because they don't care because you're not thinking about how you serve your audience. You have to think about those things. Let's get into building that strategy. The first thing is you need to niche down. Now, this goes back to talking about SEO. Instagram is actively trying to figure out what kind of content you create on a regular basis so it can put it in front of people who it thinks will like that kind of content. So for me, I talk about Instagram strategy and Instagram for business. And because I consistently show up and make that kind of content, Instagram understands what kind of content I'm creating. 2 is to decide on your content pillars. What are the things that your audience is looking for on Instagram? Now, this is really important. I talk about different things on YouTube, then I talk about on TikTok, then I talk about on my podcast. And it's because each platform has a different purpose. And so I really need to understand, like, what am I using Instagram for? Remember, it's a search engine. What are those things that my audience is coming for under my niche to learn? And what are those 3 to 5 topics that you can talk about? So I can talk about Instagram strategy, I can talk about trending audios, and I can talk about a content strategy. Those are all things that I talk about regularly in my feed. You don't even need to tell people that those are the 3 to 5 topics that you talk about, but having those topics consistently talked about on your feed teaches your audience the kind of content that you talk about. It also teaches the algorithm what they can expect from you so it can push your content into the people who they think will need you. Next step when building your strategy is to create content from the different stages in your content funnel. So a content funnel is widely used in marketing, right? It's where you create content for attracting new people, that's getting and bringing new followers in, and then nurturing those people, that's like getting them ready to buy, and then selling to those people. And we need to create content for the different parts of those funnels. In our feed, that is where we do a lot of attraction content and nurture content. If you're not growing and you still have really good engagement, I would predict that the content you're creating is nurture content. And you need to start creating content that's attraction content. Attraction content is content that brings new eyes in. And that's stuff that we really go on the edges of our niche to figure out what is that content that we create. And then we have that nurture content. This is the content that helps us establish ourselves as the expert. It helps us connect with our audience and give them a lot of value. And then there's the selling content. Now, I usually keep most of my feed, which is like reels, carousels, single posts. I will keep those nurture and attraction content and do most of my selling in my stories. And the reason is your feed should be be the place where you're attracting new people and nurturing them. And yes, of course, you should be selling as well. Usually on your sales posts, you get less engagement and less reach, which is totally fine. But if you do that a lot, you're going to see lower reach across your other pieces of content. So we want to have a healthy mixture of attraction content that brings people in and nurture content that nurtures your audience and helps them get ready to purchase. Next is utilize trending audio. There are people out there who say don't use any trending audio. And the truth is trending audio is getting people seen and it's really good attraction content. Not only am I using trending audio on my account, but we also manage a lot of other really big accounts, and attraction content is bringing in new followers. Now, if you are having trouble getting trending audio, I have ways that I can help you. First of all, you can go watch another video. I walked you through my strategy to finding trending audio. I have a free trending audio email that goes out once a week. It goes out on Monday. You get 2 audios that you can use that week. If you want even more audios every week, you need to join Insta Social Society, which is my monthly membership. We send out 10 to 12 audios every week that you can choose from, and you don't have to go searching anymore. Trending audio is going to be huge in this year, and so I want to make it as easy as possible. You can get the link below to join any of those. Next is to start doing talking to the camera videos. People call this talking head videos, but my prediction is talking head videos are going to be bigger this year than they were last year. And the reason is that Instagram actually wants people to stay and watch longer. So if you can captivate someone for a minute compared to 7 seconds, that's a big deal. Also, the other thing it's going to do for you is it helps you establish authority and it helps you deliver really powerful messages. If you're skeptical about this, someone in my Insta Social Society who was like, I don't know about this, but she gave it a try. And the first reel that she did this with, it like went viral for her. Next up is start thinking about SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization. And remember at the beginning, I talked to you about Instagram being a search engine. So as we create content, we need to create content for the search engine. So how do we do that? Well, we think about keywords. What are the keywords people would search for if they went to the Instagram search bar? What would they search for to find us? For me, it'd be like Instagram strategy, Instagram tips, Instagram hacks, those kind of things. You can make a list. This does not have to be super hard, but I want you to think about like, what are the things people would search for to find me? And then start putting those words in your content. Start putting those words in your hook, in your caption, and in your hashtags so that Instagram can start understanding what kind of content you create. Next, I would commit to create an Instagram stories strategy. Instagram stories is one of the most powerful places to grow your business online because of the connection that it brings. Instagram stories is really the secret power of Instagram because it's where people buy the most. It's where your most loyal followers are showing up. And so I would double down on your Instagram strategy. What does that mean? Commit to showing up every day. Start talking about your products and how people can purchase in your stories all the time. And the cool thing about Instagram stories is the algorithm is different. So you're actually creating content for people who do follow you. Your content pillars for stories can be completely different than your content pillars for your feed. It doesn't have to be as niche. You can talk about your dog, you can talk about your new cat, you can talk about your renovation, even if your feed is about plants or motherhood or parenting. The things you talk about in your stories can be completely different than what you talk about in your feed. It's kind of my favorite. Next up is to commit to create. The secret sauce to me growing is all those things above that I've talked about. And I show up every dang day. I show up every day in stories. I show up once or twice a day in my feed. And it goes back to what I talked about in the beginning is knowing how Instagram fits in my marketing strategy. Instagram is a huge part of serving my audience and building my business. So it is worth my time to make content consistently twice a day. That might not be what you can do. I have a team that can help me, but commit to create on a schedule, whether that's once a day, 5 times a week, whatever. Figure out your way that you can commit and then commit to showing up. And the last thing, and this is one that needs to be talked about much more, is to look at our analytics. Instagram has changed. Now your Instagram content is lasting longer. This is great because we can remove ourselves a little bit and not put so much pressure on each post. And then we can schedule time either weekly or bi-monthly or every month where we are looking at our analytics and taking cues from the content we create and how our audience is responding to them to build the next month's strategy. Figure out which types of content your audience is really resonating with. Now, I did this recently and it was very enlightening. I went to my analytics and I looked at which content is getting the most followers. And there was content about like using ChatGPT to grow on Instagram. I only have a few of those posts. So what does that tell me as a content creator? Oh, I need to create more of these. I need to talk more about ChatGPT and how to integrate that into building a strategy. Then my strategy going forward can be analytic led instead of emotionally led. So we can do better next month. So as you're building your Instagram strategy, if you need extra help, come join Insta Social Society. It's a low monthly fee, and we would love to have you and make your Instagram strategy creation so much easier. Make sure you follow, and we'll see you next time.